Hey breakers, we're back at it again. This is Steve from How to Break It, and today we're going to install Raspbian on our SD card. This will work for basically any Raspberry Pi. It could be the 0, the 3, B+, anything. First step we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go download Raspbian from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. You just type Raspbian into Google and you're going to find it pretty quickly. I'm going to go with Raspbian Stretch with desktop. The reason I'm going with the desktop is just in case I want to plug it in at some point later on. I have a Pi 3B that I'll be using for this. If you don't want to include the desktop environment, just download Raspbian Stretch Lite. The rest of the guide is the same. The download's going to take a little bit, so go gadget, let's speed this up. Alright, now that this is done, we have to get the utility to actually burn the image onto the SD card. And to do that, we're going to use Etcher. So we're going to navigate to etcher.io. It's going to automatically detect your operating system in most cases, so just download that file. Now we've downloaded 2 zip files, so we're going to have to extract those. My downloads folder is going to look a little messy, and that's where I end up extracting both files to, so sorry about that. But this will be a similar process in Windows as well with Unzip or WinRAR. You're going to want to launch the Etcher application, go back, and we're going to also unzip the Raspbian Stretch image. It's going to take a moment or two, so I'm going to fast forward through that as well. Alright, the great thing about Etcher is that it basically does everything for you. You're going to want to go select your image, pick the .img file that we just extracted. In most cases it's going to pick up your USB card or your SD card. Just make sure that you have the right one. I only have the one plugged in. Click flash. It's going to ask you for your admin password or your root password, so enter that in. This is going to take a few minutes, so we're going to go pretty quick here. Once it's done flashing, it's going to validate the image, make sure that it didn't make any mistakes while it was copying it over. Alright, now we have Raspbian on our SD card. At this point we could put it into our Pi and boot it, and then we'd have to configure it on the Pi. But what I'm going to do is open the boot partition and create a new file called SSH. It doesn't have any extension or any contents. You just create that on the boot partition, and then you will be able to SSH into your Pi as soon as it's online. In my case, it's a Pi 3B, and I'm connected with Ethernet, so I don't have to connect it to a Wi-Fi network. And I'm not very gangster, so let's safely eject. Now it's time to put it in our Pi and boot. You now have Raspbian installed on your Raspberry Pi SD card.